I woke up and had breakfast shortly afterwards around 9:30 in the morning, having slept for anywhere between 8.5 and 9.5 hours. Since I fell asleep around midnight. This is some leftover pasta from the other day. That includes some pickles with the beets. Even though I figure he would like the pickles more than I would. Pickles are okay for me, but I like the beets more than the pickles. I believe we left the house around 1 p.m. This was for an open house event. Since Dad's looking into getting a house, and the house we looked at was a single floor ranch style house worth $100,000. That's in the city. I used mostly 20 knowledge point packs of ancient knowledge packs in order to put in most of the research points needed to be able to upgrade this ancient wonder, since doing so would give me more culture. I think we looked at the house for a total of 5 minutes. And my impression of the house is that it's good enough, and I could turn one of the rooms into a sort of art studio / bedroom. Now that I think about it some more, it's not 100% confirmed that Dad will get this house we looked at. It was pretty empty, since this is a house that's currently up for sale. I remember the walls were primarily painted shades of gray. Bluish gray, maybe? I figured I was supposed to sign myself in, since I came in to the open house even though I had no intention of buying the house. I just simply said yes when Dad asked if I wanted to go with him. I don't have $100,000+ just lying around. I'm a somewhat recent college grad who's been applying to paralegal positions through LinkedIn. While working on styrofoam drawings. I'm currently thinking I'm going to do the rabbit drawing on this styrofoam piece. It's got some imperfections, but I think I can adapt to them. And Dad was also signed in for the open house. After the open house, we went to see his parents in order to the primary objective of seeing that early in our road adventures / errands was to give them the completed Josh Allen styrofoam drawing, since unwrapped, since it wasn't intended for Dad's parents. It was intended for someone else on Dad's side of the family. I think we stayed over for about half an hour. And at the end of that first visit to Dad's parents that day, I built this cultural building partially to increase my mana production and partially to increase my culture. At the end of the first visit, Dad's mom gave both me and Dad an apple, a red apple. I ate my apple pretty much as soon as it was given to me, since it's a pretty healthy snack. While I don't think Dad ate his until we got back. I think we got back maybe around 3:30 p.m., 4 p.m. When we got to Dad's route area to do some laps as driving practice, I had pretty much bitten the apple down to the core, which is edible, but if you eat that part, the core part, you have to watch out for the seeds. The driving practice, I think, lasted for half an hour. It went pretty well. I think I took some of the turns a little too fast. All of the turns ended up being this way, which I believe that's counterclockwise. you apply more pressure on the gas when you're going uphill and apply more pressure on the brake when you're going downhill. This is to ensure you neither go too fast nor too slow whenever you're approaching a turn. After doing some laps, Dad had me watch him take some of the turns. I'm doing well with the turns, it's just I'm trying to figure out how much pressure I have to apply whenever I'm supposed to ease into a brake or ease into acceleration. In those sort of ways. Since I'm still trying to figure that out, at times I end up either braking so much that I quickly lose some speed, and Dad considers that a complete stop, a sudden loss in speed, or it's not enough breakage as I'm trying to ease into a brake, applying just a gentle pressure, and I end up taking a turn a little too fast. I still manage the turn just fine, it's just that it ends up being a little sharp. And one time I went a bit over and there ended up being tire marks at the very edge of someone's yard. And as I did the driving practice, Dad actually had his apple in the hole that you use to hold a beverage, and the hole you would typically use to hold a beverage, typically one of those things you have, one of those paper containers they give you for a fountain drink at either fast food places or convenience stores typically. Dad used that hole that's between the front passenger seat and the driver's seat in order to put the apple his mom gave him, the red apple, and whenever I took a turn too sharp, a little too sharp, the force of the turn and gravity would end up jarring the apple out of the hole. So Dad used that method to determine whenever I was going too fast, a little too fast when taking a turn. The main thing I got from watching Dad do those turns after my practice, at some point today in the evening, I think I activated this research technology and it's left me with pretty much no mana left. It's part of the reason why it's primarily why I wanted to increase my mana production today. the main conclusion I came from watching Dad was that generally you want to take off 5 miles for a 45-degree turn and about 10 miles for a 90-degree turn. I don't think that's an absolute rule, but I think it's a good rule of thumb. After that driving practice, Dad and I went to Salvatore's. These are leftovers from the large cheese pizza he got for free with rewards points. He had to pay for the toppings of pepperoni and bacon, which are the ones we selected for the pizza. And for my first drink turns out it was the last day I could get the Leprechaun drink special. Which is, for obvious reasons, a sort of green dyed drink. If I recall correctly, it had peach schnapps. Some kind of schnapps. And for my second drink, I got a mule. Which is essentially ginger beer in a copper mug. And it was around that time that Dad ordered the fried dough. And we allowed our bartender to have one piece of the fried dough with powdered sugar and I think a bit of powdered cinnamon too. After, or at least our stay at Salvatore's, I think it was from around 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., we went back to Dad's parents' place because his mom had more food to give us. I believe Dad's mom bought these at a store. They're pretty good. But she made these brownies. And she also gave us some kuchen for breakfast tomorrow, since I think in the morning I ended up having the last of both the milk and the granola cereal. Ever since we got home, I've been thinking about working on the 99 Dan Hamming episode. My current task being to make wind deflector custom props, since I found that's another good thing to have for people living in their car. Currently trying to figure out how to make those custom props through Lunapic. It involves the same custom props I made for Lunapic to make the to depict the window tint. Current idea involves scaling down the original window tint props. I'm making new custom props with the black replaced by a sort of dark purple, making it highly opaque. Hopefully it'll come across as a light purple, which seems to be the tint that the wind deflectors depicted in a video on how on living in a car looked like. The audio in these headphones are starting to go, so that's why I unplugged them from my laptop. The pickles had a sort of sweet and sour taste to them, and more like sweet and tangy. And I believe Dad said as much before. I even ate them. And he served this out first, then this, and then this.